All right, so we got our two base tubes bent. They're really close. I can't say they're exact, but they're really close. So we're working off a center line right here. The table that we got here is a piece of diamond plate. The diamond plate is on the bottom side, so it's nice and smooth. We actually got this piece of diamond plate from our friend Matt, who was knocking down his shed, and this was the ramp to go into his shed. So I'm always looking out for things that are gonna help me along the way, because this was going in the garbage, and I was like, hey, we could use that. So what we're doing here is we're working off of the edges of the table. So right now I have this piece of angle iron clamped down, and as long as I'm working from a straight edge, everything's gonna be square. So that measures out at 8 1/8. And that measures out at 8 1/8. All right, and I have the angle iron up against the front side of our tubes. And the back side of our tube from the edge of the table measures out at 3 3/4. And this tube measures out at 3 3/4. So I think the next, now I've never built a mini bike frame before. I've just been around shops forever. So I'm doing what makes sense to me. So Harrison had already cleaned up the neck. This is the neck, and we get bearings that fit in there just perfectly. And so I believe this is 1 3/8 inside diameter. Mike came up with it is 1 3/8 inside diameter. And we notched out the tube, and we have this mounted on the table in a way that we could actually move it around a little bit. It's snug, but we could move it. And this is gonna be the bottom side of the neck here. And we went over to our test bike, and we figured out that the angle says 70 degrees. So we're going to transfer our angle finder to this, and we're going to set that up from this side, and we're going to get it in there so it's 70 degrees. That's pretty close. All right, so our next thing we're going to do is we're going to check our angle here. We're going to check our angle here. Going to get it all set up just right, and then we're going to tack this neck into place with these two tubes, and then we're going to work off of that, and then we can start building the back section of the bike and then our upper tubes. So as soon as we get this all tacked into place, we're going to start bending another pipe. So we'll check back in. All right, here we have a plumb bob. And it occurred to me, because I was trying to get all the angles right, and I was looking down the center of the neck trying to find my center. So when I find my center, I know that everything is directly towards the middle, and this neck is set up correctly. So in the auto body field, when you have the measurements on the Chief measuring system, they have something called a datum line. This would be like our datum line. So we found the center of the neck. We have a center line on the table, and it looks like it might need to come over about 1/16 of an inch if that thing would just stop swinging. So everything that I'm doing, I'm trying to make square and to the center. Once I find the center line, then I know exactly where I have to work off of. That's pretty close. It's close enough, but I think I can tap it over to the left slightly, and it might get even closer. I think I like that better. All right, so I know that my neck is dead center, and we're going to be able to just grind a little bit out of here and grind a little bit out of there, and then we're going to move. Once we get it all set up where we want, we can just pinch this edge of the bar in just slightly, and then weld it up. All right, so we went and we bent the back pipe, and as we've been doing this, we're figuring out that we're learning along the way. My mathematical skills aren't the greatest. So I am sure that there is a mathematical equation out there that someone can get back to us with that is going to tell us when we bend this radius and this radius, how do we land at 11 inches? So I did it by eyeball and a tape measure, and I figured out where the shoe or the die landed on both sides, and I got myself within 1/4 of an inch, and then I just tweaked it just to get it to be lining up with that, with the bottom rails. And then we took our angle finder and we went off the back of our test bike and we came up with about 68 degrees. So that's pretty much what we're aiming for, 68, 69, 70, somewhere in that range. So it's level, we have our angles, and it's tacked into place. And we're gonna make our top bars. And we're gonna tie them in to somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. So we're gonna notch it all out, we're gonna come up a little, and then we're gonna bend in towards the neck. And that's what our next step is gonna be. Well, we're back to the bender, and what we kind of figured out was to keep everything symmetrical. We marked the end of the pipe to where we want to start the bend, so we went 9.5 inches, and if you look through the hole, you can see a little bit of Sharpie marker in there, I think, and that's where the die starts. So we bent both top pipes, starting at 9.5 inches from the bottom. Oh, here it is, I saw it. And what we did was to keep them the same, at least I think they should be the same, is we just went a full run through the teeth. Probably gonna have to shorten one of the pipes just to bring it back over the top of the other bend. But, you know, the pipe bender right now is working okay. I'm sure there's more adjustments that we could make to it to make it work better. It's a little cluttered, but we're okay. And this thing works on leverage. I should put my other gloves on. You really want to kind of have gloves on when you're working with something like this. Not that if you got your finger stuck in it, that the machine would know you had gloves on, because I don't think it would. And I'm just trying to stay out of the way. I think I'm going to come around to this end and pull on it rather than... And I also try to put the seam of the pipe towards the inside of the bend, just to keep it kind of neat looking. Now I also know that you can put a hydraulic piston on this machine, but when I don't bend enough of it to really need that. Now, this bend should be about the same as the other bend. Yeah, I like it. So, we're still having a little burr issue. So, it must be the alignment of the shoe in the machine. Maybe I need to shim something. So, gloves are a must because that burr will cut you right to the bone. So, we're just going to grab our grinder with the floppy disc on it, and of course it's not plugged in. So. All right, moving right along here. So what we've been doing is we've been grinding away to make a little fish mouth for these pipes to fit in exactly. Now I know they do make a fixture of a hole sorter you can put in a drill press and you can get certain angles, but we're not that sophisticated. We just want to, you know, grind it up and get it to be where we're at. So what we did with this one is we put that level on there like that, right? We went to the middle of the radius here, or fairly to the middle of the radius, and then we turn this pipe slightly up to the neck. So if you look there, it's not exactly, it would be like the bubble would be on there. So this is gonna kind of slope down, and our goal is to do the same thing with this pipe. So once we get this tacked in place and we find our height, that'll tell us and it's at the same height. A little bubble there. All right, we're gonna get that tacked in, and then not tack it too tight, and we'll be able to kind of bend it around a little bit. Put our level there, and that should land right about there. All right, and then we're gonna force this side of the pipe in to here and jack it up a little bit, and that'll kind of twist this pipe back out and it'll all be square, because I just noticed that it's not exactly square, but it's close. All right, so we got this pipe in here. Had to stick a jack in there and jack this up into place, but it worked. So we got a level there, we got a level there, and we got to bend this back down, and we got a level there. So we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna, once I, clean up this bench and get this jack out of here, which I can do now. Shouldn't have changed anything, it didn't. Well, we're looking good. We're gonna clean up the bench, and we're gonna start to play around with the engine plate. We have an engine block with a crankshaft in it and a clutch. So we're gonna play with that and start figuring out our spacing there. And put in some cross supports. And keep after it, keep after it. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so we put in some cross supports. I seem to like this plate better than that plate. Just because you can kind of just lay it on the table and weld it in. So I think I like that plate better. We're not exactly sure if these seat brackets are going to stay in that spot. So we just kind of put one little tack in each spot. We have a fully dressed 212 engine here. And it's a tight squeeze, but it fits. So just move that over a little bit, move this plate over. To have a flat surface in which to work with really helps, because you can just kind of build off of that flat surface and everything is true. So that's what we got. I mean, I can't say that we knocked them dead today, but I don't think we did too bad either. Our first attempt at doing something like this. Over here at my friend Mike's shop. Thank you to Mike for letting us use his facility. Our garage is still under construction, and we were able to dig the trench from the house to the garage to upgrade the electricity. And we cut the trees down behind the garage so we can add an extension onto it. And our big, healthy, industrial-sized compressor is going to go live in its own house. So that's where we're at on that front. So we're working towards it. Rome wasn't built in a day. So that's where we're at, and we'll check back in when we make a little bit more progress.